Consider supporting the Sci-Fi Collective on Patreon from only $1 a month. Link below in the description.
So, shall we kick this off?
Yep, why not?
Okay, fantastic. So, some people here might not know
Who I am,
you are,
sure.
what you've done.
Right.
So, Richard Head.
Was that for us? Thank you very much.
That's a good start.
Yes, and some people might be cheeky, but that's all
We'll
right.
heckle him when he goes up here, right?
Yeah. I like to say naughty jokes, like golden toilets.
Right, I'll give you a quick, brief history of who I am and what I am. I began years ago as a Star Trek fan at Star Trek conventions, like you guys. I used to sit there, looking at Captain Kirk and all these people going, wow, all right? And as time went on, I went to more and more conventions, and I began to do the martial arts, Kung Fu and all that stuff. Who knows what Kung Fu is? Good. Okay. And at one convention, there was a problem with some football fans. And I just stepped in and did something to help a disabled girl out. And because of that, they let me go to breakfast with George Takei, Mr. Sulu from Star Trek. Yeah. I was just like you, just a Star Trek fan. And then I went for a run with George. See, I call him George now, not Mr. George. Yeah. So I went for a run with George.
Your mate George.
No, my mate George.
Yeah.
So the next convention I went to, a guy called Jimmy Doohan came over, who was Scotty. And George had spoke to Jimmy Doohan about me. So I met Jimmy Doohan, and I became the unofficial sort of security for these people at conventions, So I did the martial arts and things. And then at one of these conventions, a guy called Richard Arnold came over. He was Gene Roddenberry's assistant. Who knows who Gene Roddenberry is? The creator of Star Trek. Okay? And I'd done quite a few things since then at conventions, and Richard had heard about me, and he said, "Oh, you're the strange English guy who does this Kung Fu stuff." So yes. Yeah. Anyway, because I'd looked after a few of the Star Trek people, I became friends with Richard, and he went back to the States, and I thought no more of it. Well, my dad was ill. He was an ill man. He had mental illness. So the only thing in my life was Star Trek. I used to love Star Trek. I used to retreat into my Star Trek room. Who's got a Star Trek room? Anyone?
My house.
Good. And I used to do the martial arts and love Star Trek. And I used to have 2 posters on the wall. And I was still quite young. And I used to say to all my friends and family, one day I'm going to push that button on Captain Kirk's chair and be an instructor in Bruce Lee's school. With the other, who knows who Bruce Lee is? Yeah? Greatest martial artist ever lived. Anyway, so I'm going to push the button on Captain Kirk's chair and be an instructor in Bruce Lee's school. Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, 2 weeks after Richard Arnold had gone home, we had a phone call. And my aunt, we never had a phone, my aunt downstairs had a phone. She said, "There's a phone call from you, from some American person. Come down and answer it." So, picked up the phone, and it was Richard Arnold. And he said, "I've got someone who wants to talk to you." And it was Gene Roddenberry. He put Gene Roddenberry on the phone.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so there's this Star Trek fan going, blah, 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 blah. So Gene said, "I've heard what you've done for my cast members and things. I'd like to invite you to come and visit the Star Trek sets." So what are you going to say if you get an invite like that?
I think I'd say yes very, very quickly.
So I was like, but I couldn't afford, we had nothing. Lived in London, very poor, my dad couldn't work. So Gene said, "I'll pay for you to come over."
That must have been so special. I think I felt so good hearing that.
Amazing person, amazing man. Anyway, so I'd never hardly been on a train on my own. There was going to get a plane to go to Los Angeles to see Gene Roddenberry on Star Trek. How would you feel about that?
Awesome. Personally, I feel really happy.
It was incredible. Anyway, cut a long story short, when I got there, Richard Arnold met me from the airport. They put me in a hotel, drove me to Paramount Pictures. I was this crazy Star Trek fan. I had my Captain Kirk chair at home made out of cardboard. Yeah. I was only about 26 at the time. No, that's a joke. Anyway, I'm 27 now. And I went to the office, and there was Gene Roddenberry. I froze like a rabbit in the headlights, I've got a great picture, he can't put his arm around me. And they took a picture, I'm going. So Gene took me in his office, and you have life-changing moments in your life, the older you get. This was definitely the life-changing moment for me. Gene said to me, "What are your ambitions?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to sit in Captain Kirk's chair." So he laughed and said, "Yes, but what are your real-life ambitions?" You know, I said, "Well, I wish I'd have been an actor." And this was just after Star Trek the motion picture, this was, so way back. "I wish I'd have been an actor." And Gene said to me, "Are you dead?" So I said, "No." He said, "Well, why aren't you an actor?" So I said, "Well, I can't act." Then he put his hand on my shoulder, looked in my eyes, and said, "If man had only dreamed of going on the moon, but never taken the steps to get there, we'd be earthbound. If you wish to fly tomorrow, start flapping your wings today." I was like, he said, "Let's go and sit in Captain Kirk's chair." And he took me on the set of Star Trek the motion picture, and there I was, and I saw the button that I'd seen on my poster.
Did you press it? Did you press it?
Of course I pressed it.
Excellent.
And, well, that began an incredible change for me. I went back to England, nothing was the same, you know. Oh, and while I was there, Richard Arnold said, "Where else would you like to see in Los Angeles?" Because I'd only ever been as far as London, where I live. I said, "Well, Bruce Lee had a school over Los Angeles. Do you know where it is?" And he looked it up. And Bruce Lee died years before, but I went to the Bruce Lee school. And I did martial arts this time. And one of Bruce Lee's friends was there who ran the school for Bruce Lee, called Master Richard Castillo. And he spoke to me and said, "Well, what's your ideas about Bruce Lee? And show us some stuff." So in Bruce Lee's school, and he let me hit Bruce Lee's punch bag and train on his Wing Chun dummy.
Wow.
And I dived about, and he said, "Okay, I'll take you on as an apprentice under me. You'll have to come to LA twice a year, and I'll come to England twice a year, and we'll continue." So that was a life-changing trip. Went back to England, nothing was the same. Because I had martial arts and nothing else, I enrolled in a stunt team. Went around the country, started to train in drama, and then each year I'd get a phone call from Gene Roddenberry. "We're making another motion picture. Would you like to come?" "Yes, I'd love to be a guest, Gene, I'll be there." So each year I'd go back on the set of Star Trek, when they made these different films and series, and he gave me a walk-on part on Star Trek The Next Generation. You know, it was an incredible man. That began my passion. All the years later, I got my equity card, I became an actor, I actually worked on Star Trek, of all things, and I became not just instructor in Bruce Lee School, I became a so-called master instructor in Bruce Lee School. All right? So whatever dreams you've got, do not say they're impossible dreams. But you've got to keep going and don't give up on those dreams, all right? So I pushed the button, I was in Star Trek, and I became a master in Bruce Lee's school, all right? So any dreams you've got here, keep going, you'll get there. That's not for me, what was right?
Well, firstly, I think that's absolutely brilliant. Because there are so many times where dreams might not look like they're going anywhere, but it's having those moments.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because
Fantastic.
because my father was a very ill man. He was a lovely man. He was a pianist. But when he was mentally ill, the other side of him was this crazy, sad man who kicked the television and keep us prisoner in the house. We had loads of stuff going on. So to get where I got was impossible. And years later, I wrote a book, which is on my table. My father was called Harry. I wrote a book called The Other Side of Harry. One side was lovely, the other side was this crazy man. But I wrote in the book how you can get from wherever you are in a dark place to somewhere else if you don't give up. You know, and I've had lots of emails from people that were inspired by the book to follow their dreams and hang on. Because if you give up today, you might have made it tomorrow. So don't give up today. All right? Yeah.
So what was so regarding that book, I mean, what was the writing process like?
Well, I wrote it, I think 10 years ago now, but because we had police sieges and straitjackets and I was a prisoner by my father till I was 20. Literally till I was 20, never been anywhere. All right? So I had to take myself back to who I used to be to write the book, to become the person I used to be. Since then, I've done martial arts films in Hong Kong. I've been in TV series, The British Empire. I've been in Star Trek. I've been in The Bill. You know, loads of stuff. But in those days, I've been nowhere and done nothing. And I loved my dad, but also hated him because he kept us a prisoner. He'd go crazy. The police would come. He'd smash the place up. There'd be violence, and then he'd be fine again for a while. So I had to write this book for people. If I can do what I did and be where I am today, so can anyone, all right? The reason why I wrote the book, I was at a convention in America, signing all these photographs. We're so privileged, by the way, that we sign photographs of us, and you want to buy them. It's wonderful privilege. And I was signing a photograph, American convention, this guy come up, he was very large, and he was sweating profusely. His hair was stuck to his face. And I looked up at him, I said, who would you like me to sign it to? And all of a sudden he just lost it. And he said, it's right for you, you're a martial arts expert, you've been in Star Trek, but I've had it hard. I know you think I'm fat, but I've had it hard. He ran away crying. And I thought, bless him, wow. They can only see who maybe I am now. I've been in Star Trek and I've done that and done that. And I thought, I used to be this person. I used to be him. So I had to write the book to show people that no matter who you are now, you can become what you want to be. Provided you don't give up and you find a way, not to let the darkness take you. So I wrote this book, The Other Side of Harry, for that. All right, and all the money from it goes to mental health charity. So I don't get money for my own book, but yeah, great writing.
And that is such a worthy cause, because I think in these days mental health is getting such.
It is. Yeah.
Hopefully it's things like that which will help get rid of the stigma,
Yeah.
which is such pain.
Well, I'm sure some of us here get very embarrassed. Who gets embarrassed easily? Come on, there you go. Me, right? When you get anxiety, that's still a form of mental illness. You get really anxious and worry about things, So it's not that you're crazy and a lunatic. That's the extreme of it. But all of us in our life sometimes, chronic doubt can become a mental illness. I don't think I can. And when you say you can't, you don't. And it becomes the way you live your life. And if you think you can't, you won't. Bruce Lee's philosophy was about being positive. Anything you think you can achieve, you can. But you've got to find the stepping stones to do it and get there. And I just was lucky that I found Bruce Lee and Star Trek to be the inspiration for my life. When G. Roddenberry took me under his wing, why did he do it? He had no reason to. And he paid his money for me to go over there and be a part of Star Trek. Yeah.
That is completely awesome. Well, personally admitting, I never thought I'd be up here doing interviewing years and years ago. And I am, and it's really cool. And also,
well done for you. Well done.
Thank you. And also you've written another book, which is So That's What It Means. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about the film industry, really, are we? Yeah, this other book I've written, it's on there called... All right, so that's what it means. Because I never had a father figure to follow, I started to... My dad, he was very intelligent and lovely, but the other side of him, when he was more ill than not, I couldn't ask him about life's problems. So I started to study Zen, Buddhism, Taoism, philosophy, psychology, and I'd write these little things down about love, deception, determination, fear, because there's loads of sayings in Chinese and different cultures about how you get through life. I'd write them down in a book, and I'd write beside them what I thought they meant to me. So if I had a problem I couldn't turn to Dad, I'd look at these books and go, oh yeah, I get it, so that's what it means. All right. Years later, I do life coaching and stuff and look after people, as we should do.
Yeah.
And I found the book that I'd written throughout my life, this brown book, with all these sayings in. And it's a book that it's like a friend in your pocket. It's a very small book, but it can give you a nudge in the right direction to help you understand life and yourself. And I put in it descriptions of what I think these sayings mean. Like there's a saying in it, you can't tread twice on the same piece of water. All right? Maybe you loved someone years ago and it was a fantastic love affair, and then you meet them years later, I'll be in love with them again. And it's not the same, because you can't tread twice on the same piece of water. It's flowed on. Things have changed, life's different. All right? I'd love to, still be a 12-year-old and play with Action Man, but it wouldn't really work, would it? If I said, who wants a Action Man with me? You go, oh dear.
Right. I'd say yes, please, personally, that's just me.
Yeah, so the other book's just about a little guideline to help you through life, help you overcome fear, help you be more positive, and to not give up. So, I want to give something back. So I did that book.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the film industry quite right.
Film industry, oh
And
yeah,
also,
I'm an actor as well.
Oh yeah, and also, I hear that you've got a co-starring role in the Western.
Yeah, so again, on my way to Hollywood, as you do. Yeah. I had a phone call from a director that directed me on an episode of Star Trek. Okay, he'd written a script about the Wild West days, and he said, "Don't mind me saying this, but you English people make really good villains. Who's seen Loki and Thor? Tom Wilson, fantastic, yeah." He said, "We've got a villain in this film called Cowboy Creed, and he's supposed to be from England. His name's Limey." Right? Does anyone know where the nickname Limeys came from English people? It used to come from the ships, because you got scurvy if you was on a ship for a long time. All right? Because you didn't have the vitamins. Okay? So that's to take limes with them. English sailors to eat, stop you getting scurvy. And the nickname Limey stuck. Anyway, yeah, so I went to Los Angeles. I helped the scriptwriter through tons and tons of phone calls and everything about my character. He was an aristocrat, a posh English guy, and he did something wrong in England and he fled to China. Okay, went 10 years on what they call the Silk Road, learning different stuff, different skills. Then went to America to rob the trains of the gold. So I was an Englishman in America who could do martial arts, like the old Kung Fu series. And there was a guy, I choreographed all the action as well, and the guy who played the sheriff, his name's Anthony DeLongis, okay, or DeLongis, I think they say, and he was in a film called Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. He was in Star Trek, he played the head Kazon in Star Trek, and he's been in everything, and he's the top stunt arranger in the world. And I never realised, when I was choreographing all this action in England, that he was really on the film anyway, choreographing the action. So when I got over there, I thought, oops. But he was wonderful. I showed him what I could do, and he said, fine, John, you choreograph the film. So I did. And because I'm a bad guy, I ended up getting knocked about a bit, as you do. But it was great, playing a really good, meaty role, rather than being in Klingon makeup and, you know, being someone else you come into who I am. I was me, but a very posh version of me, and the kind of person you love to hate. You might not take me now, you know. Yes, I did my first Western, and it was really unreal because I had a moment when I walked out and looked over the Hollywood Hills. I couldn't believe where I was doing what I did. I looked up at the sky, you know, and just said to Mum and Dad, who are no longer here, top of the world, because it's them that you do things for. You do things for your mum and dad, even when they're not with us anymore, you know. So that's a great experience. I've got to fire guns. Got to shoot guns.
That sounds so exciting.
It did. I didn't kill anyone, but there you go.
Probably a good thing so I don't get locked up.
Good thing, yes.
I hear that murders look quite poorly by law enforcement agencies.
Yes, it is. I think you've murdered a few people yourself. There you go.
I'm tempted to. I work in an office. It goes in territory. So what have you been working on lately? What have your recent projects been?
Well, I've been doing a thing for a few years now. We did 3 pilots for a series called Humber City. It's based in Hull. It's a really gritty police series, and it's based, I think, 60 years in the future from now, where there's lots of holograms and things about. See, there's a hologram lady sitting over there. Hello, Hattie. So there's lots of holograms and stuff. But once again in this, I played the lead policeman in this, but he's not a nice person. I keep playing Klingon's not a nice person, Limey, not a nice person. Yeah, so we're just finishing the last pilot, the 3rd pilot for this. So whether it get picked up or not is another matter. We don't know, but there's lots of guest stars from different things you recognise in it. We've got Tim Russ, who played Tuvok in Star Trek. Tim does a guest appearance on that. We've got, who played Ace in Doctor Who?
Sophie Aldred.
Sophie Aldred's in it as well. So there's lots of well-known names that guest star and come in it. So, and hope that, but I'm not very nice that you won't like me. Again, what a surprise.
But is it more fun, do you think, playing a villain than the good?
It is, because in life we try to be good. We try to be good. But when someone says you can be as bad as you want, go for it. Yeah, it's really good, because I think every bad person has got a grain of goodness in them somewhere, right? So you can't just play evil all the time. When you see Tom Hiddleston playing Loki, everyone loves his character of Loki. They know he's bad, but you like someone so bad he's good.
Yeah.
You know? So you try and bring a bit of likeableness into a bad character, which is very difficult to do, because you've got to believe that they believe they're doing right.
And also, I do find that the villains are more. I guess you could do more with a villain, as opposed to having to do the right things.
Anyway, shall we carry on?
I didn't mean it like that. I meant that you can explore. You have more free license to be.
Villains have better motivation than
Okay, there you go. What's my motivation?
Good guys, that's easy. I want to save whatever. Bad guys. That's interesting.
I'll tell you a couple of stories from the set of Star Trek. Yeah, get back into the science fiction vein.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of my really best friends in life is Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov in Star Trek. I met him as a young boy at conventions and stuff, and years later I met him again in Los Angeles. We became really good friends. He stayed with me in my home 3 times. I've stayed with him in his home. But he's a practical joker. All the time he does practical jokes, yeah? People don't realise this, but before J.J. Abrams came along, there was Star Trek New Voyages, and they changed to Phase 2. They did loads of different episodes. Gene Roddenberry's son, Rod Roddenberry, was the executive producer on this. They wanted this to be the new Star Trek, going back to Kirk's era, continuing the mission. So they had, George Takei was there, lots of people from classic Star Trek. Okay, I was Captain Carl, the lead Klingon, bad guy, the lead Klingon in 8 episodes. reoccurring role, which is really great on those classic sets. They recreated the sets down to the last detail of Kirk's Enterprise. But not many people heard about it because J.J. Abrams said, no, I've got an idea, I'm going to reboot Star Trek. We don't want Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, we want my Star Trek. So Paramount went, okay, sorry New Voyages, never got made.
Shame.
Yeah. And then time went on, J.J. Abrams got more into Star Wars, started to release his hold on Star Trek a bit. So another company came along with Star Trek Renegades. And Tim Russ directed it, Walter Koenig played Chekhov at 125 years of age, Nichelle Nichols was in it, people from all the eras of Star Trek guest starred in it, people from Battlestar Galactica was in it. And the woman who was in Blade Runner, played the gorgeous looking Sean Young. I got to be with Sean Young. Yeah, so again this was a 3-part movie that was going to be a pilot for a new series called Star Trek Renegades that would show different parts of the universe that existed in the classic and Next Generation era of Star Trek. Okay, so we did that and Tim Russ was the director. Getting back to my point, Walter Koenig played old Chekhov. Okay, and Tim Russ directed and played Tuvok. We had Gary Graham, who was in Enterprise as the Vulcan ambassador. Yeah, we had people. Yeah, wonderful. I had to do a scene where I'm walking around the corridors, and I decided to get confused. This was Star Trek Gods and Men, another pilot with Walter. I have to be a Klingon officer, and we're with Tim Russ, Gary Graham, and who played Harry Kim? Come on, Garrett Wong. Yeah. So they come around this corridor, and I have to run around there in my Klingon uniform. I've got all these Klingon teeth. It's a Next Generation Klingon, and I have to question them. You know, what are they doing here? They're trying to escape from prison disguised. And we did this dialogue, and I hadn't met Tim Russ before, and he'd never met me. I know Tim very well now. First thing he said to me, came up to me, said, "Buddy," pardon me saying this, "Buddy, is your shit together?" Yes, Tim, my shit's together. I said, "My name's John, by the way, Tim." And there's no pressure. You know, you're in Hollywood, you're going to film Star Trek, and is your shit together? Okay? In other words, get it right. So I do go through this Klingon dialogue with all these characters, and Walter, playing Chekhov, was supposed to pull the phaser out and go, "Enough!" and shoot me. Okay? Got through my speech, thought, great, okay, Walter, put me out of my misery. Puts the phaser between my legs and fires it. Everyone loved it, and I went, "Oh." He went, "Wasn't it funny?" I went, "No." Right? So we had to go all through this again, and he shoots me, and I die, thank God. But then we did Star Trek Renegades, another pilot, and Walter's in that. And Tim Russ, as a director, is very, very hard. He's not what you call an actor's director. He's a very demanding director. Okay? And I had 2 parts in this. You see some pictures on my table. One was a Starfleet Admiral. Hey, we're good.
Yay!
One was a Starfleet Admiral that they try and assassinate. Okay, these other aliens that can. Do you remember the Next Generation when those things crawled into their necks, in their mouth? Yeah, it's a continuation of that, and they've got these people controlling them and trying to. So they try and kill this admiral, but I survive. All right, and I also play a Klingon. So in one episode I'm playing 2 parts, which is great. See me playing an admiral, then a Klingon, and I have to have my teeth all blacked out and things. Right, I have to wear those spiky Klingon teeth. Yeah, one of my lines, because I'm not in this scene, I'm playing 3 Klingons. I'm playing, Gary Graham is a shape changer. So I'm playing Gary Graham's character who changes into a Klingon, but still thinks like Gary Graham. You get this? So he uses words that Klingons wouldn't use. And there's a word called pulchritudinous. Who knows what that means? I never had a clue. Okay? I have to say, "Can you not see my pulchritudinous face? Can you not see my beautiful face?" Right? So pulchritudinous, darling, means beautiful. So we got to do rehearsals. I'm in full Klingon makeup. I've got the Klingon teeth in. Pulchritudinous is hard enough normally.
Get my tongue around.
Yeah. So we did one rehearsal, and you're in Hollywood. The lights are there, and Tim Russ is going. Action. I thought, I'm going to get this right, Tim. "Can you not see my We did 4 takes, and Tim Russ was like, bangs the foot. So he took the teeth out, and they blacked up my own teeth. It's stuff called nicotine, okay? They blacked my own teeth. I did it, "Can you not see my pulchritudinous face?" Great, did all the scenes. And then it's on the set, who's seen Firefly? Firefly. When they stopped doing that, the sets were still standing there. So they hired the Firefly sets and changed them to be Klingon ships and Starspeed
Really?
ships.
That's amazing.
So we're in those sets. Now I did the scenes as this shape changer who's really making out as a Klingon, and then we finished that. I thought, great. Then Tim Russ says, now do the scene where the real Klingon comes along. Okay, do it. Change your attitude. And I went, what scene, Tim? And then the scriptwriter went, we forgot to give John the script. And I'm sharing the hotel room with the scriptwriter. That's why I forgot to give him the script. So Tim Russ is looking at me, and I'm like, so they gave me 15 minutes to try and get, oh, that was pressure.
Yeah.
So because when I was being the normal person, being the partridge in his face, he's not quite a Klingon, so I just thought, right. And then when you look down through a Klingon brow like this, everything changes. It's sinister. So I did one Klingon like that, and the same looking Klingon like that, with these brown teeth. And no partridge in his faces this time. So yeah, I got to do Renegades with Walter Koenig again there, and Gary Graham and all these different people. And Sean Young, who played in Blade Runner, didn't work in Hollywood for a long time because she went for an audition for Catwoman in Batman. And Sean told me this. I think Sean told me. She said, in those days I was a bit up my own ass. She said I went for the audition for Catwoman dressed as Catwoman. She said, you don't really do that. I thought they'd see my figure and know I was born to be Catwoman. She said, so what happened was I walked in there, thinking I'd already got the part, and two people behind the judging table laughed as I walked in. She said, I don't let anyone laugh at me. So she went on a rant at the director of Batman, and she never even got to do her lines as Catwoman, and they tried to eject her off the and security man went to grab her and she spun around and hit her across the face. She said, so that's why you didn't see me from then. She said, I did some stuff on Dune. She said, that's the last time you saw me, wasn't it? I went, yeah. And so she was showing me what she did. She went like this, and also I blocked her. I said, Sean, you're getting a bit method acting here. So we had a good chat. I didn't have any scenes with her, but the great thing was all the men on the set were going, that's Sean Young, wow, Sean Young. So when she went to say goodbye to everybody, she said goodbye to the director and Tim Russ and all the actors, I stood back because she don't want to, I had two good parts, but I wasn't the star. And all of a sudden she went, oh, Britt, come here. Big kiss, till we meet again. And they all went, so Walter went, it's the fucking accent. That's what she likes, the accent. Of course it is, pardon my French. Yes, so that was, Renegades was a good experience for many good reasons, not only that. So I got to play a goodie as me and a baddie as a Klingon. But I don't just do Klingon acting, I do loads of stuff. But I'm saying, without Gene Roddenberry, without those days, could the fan ever become something other than the fan? When no one looks, right, on the set, you're on Star Trek, you do William Shatner's beside you or something, you do your stuff. You're professional. When no one's looking, you go, wow! I'm sure all of us have got people we look up to in the industry, but you can't let them know that you fan worship. You couldn't do your job. You'd go, you just couldn't do it. Every line would be a pulchritudinous line. So, you can still be a fan, but you've got to be a professional fan. Right?
It sounds like great fun.
I've worked for great fun.
At this point, has anybody in the audience got any questions for John?
Any questions at all? Anything? Right, we'll do one thing. Well, I said we're going to try and do something a bit special. I'm going to want to volunteer. You're going to become a martial arts stuntman. Alright? Because I want to kick you across the face. And if you've got friends with cameras, we'll get a good camera shot of you getting kicked on the face. Who's going to trust me enough to get kicked in the face? In your pulchritudinous face. Oh.
Come on, go on.
There you go. Kick a woman in the face? Yeah, we can do that. Okay.
I've seen him do this, so I know why. I'm just going to stand there with my eyes shut.
I'm going to move this chair over here.
When you're doing a
Sven, get this on.
cameras, right? When you're doing theatre, as obviously theatre actors learn live things, you can't cheat the angles as well. But on a camera, you can make it look like they're really getting kicked or punched, okay? So you could be doing a fight scene, they say, cut, go and have lunch, come back, take it exactly where you left off. but when it's live, you can't do it. So if I was to do anything to hit him across the face from here, you'd see a miss. Agreed? But over there, it could be a hit. So I'll do a kick across the face. Do you take glasses off? Or trust me? Good. Okay. Just tell me exactly where you want me. We'll do 2 angles. Right, you're going to be here. Right? Right. You see the method actor is he's like, okay. Right. You're going to throw your head that. Take your glasses off, so you throw your head that way. Yeah. Right, you're going to kick across the face. We'll put more sounds there. People behind you will see a hit. Alright? And if I get it wrong, you'll all see a hit.
Which way am I throwing my head?
This way.
That way. Okay.
Right, this way. When I did the British Empire, alright, I was a character called Patrick for 5 seasons on British. In one scene, Chris Barry has to get kicked across the face. And I saw him doing rehearsal. Every time the kick went here, Chris is going the other way. So Jeffrey Bush, I went, Chris, this way. Oh, it was excellent. Okay. Right, so, come here. Right, so the kick's going to come across his face and he's going to go whack. Are we ready? Mm-hmm. So from here, whoa! Alright, now we do it this way. Was it impressive with the hands like this? Yeah. I don't scrap you. Okay. Ready again? This way. Alright, so no more questions. That's it. Remember, don't give up on your dreams, alright? Yeah. Good.